2 of my cut. Where we at? Where we going? So week 1 is kind of trial and error, and there was a lot of it. So I started my cut March 1st. I went through that whole first week, figuring my calorie count, all that shit, all that fun stuff. Got through my first week and dropped 3 pounds, which is absolutely not what I wanted to do. That's way too much, way too fast, especially when you plan on cutting from March to August. What my plan is supposed to be, about a half a pound a week. And I way over fucking shot that. So now it's like, what do I got to do? I got to go back to the drawing board. So I had my calorie count of what I started with. Obviously too low. I have to up that, eat more food, which is okay with me, and try and figure out where I can get to where I'm at that half pound a week mark. Now, why? Why do you want to cut slowly? You can cut really fast, but you will lose muscle, for sure, if you cut too fast. The whole point of the cut, especially coming off of the bulk. So what did you do? You bulked all winter to try and put a bunch of muscle on as much as you can. And obviously you put fat on with that. And then you use your summer, your cuts, to try and trim all of that fat off and to keep and retain as much muscle as possible during that process. If you tend to lose 3 pounds a week, which is way too fucking much, you're absolutely going to cut into your muscle. Not saying that if you lose a half a pound a week that you won't cut into muscle, because you probably will. So at the end, so come August, I want to be sitting around 170, 175, and hope that I only maybe lost 10% of what I built over that whole winter bulk is my plan. Will I get there? I hope so. I didn't hit my goal on my bulk. My bulk, I wanted to get to 200 pounds. That was my goal. I fell short of that. I ended up at 194, I believe. And I just, I had probably a month and a half to almost 2 months of trial and error trying to figure that all out and trying to eat enough to gain the necessary weight that I needed to gain per week to bulk up. It was a fucking struggle. It was also my first time doing it. This is also my first time doing a cut. Now, I did a 3-week mini cut right before vacation. So, end of January. I did 2 weeks mini cut in January and then 1 more week in February. And that was fast. That was, I went from 194 to 182, 183 in those 3 weeks, which is way too fast. But it's okay if you're going to do a mini cut. If you're going to do a mini cut and then go back to like maintenance, that's okay. And that's what I did. Did I lose muscle during that mini cut? Absolutely. I absolutely did. But I wanted to kind of get rid of the fluff and tone up a little bit for vacation. So I did the mini cut. As soon as we got home, I was back at maintenance, and I did maintenance for 3 weeks after that, and then hit my cut, started into my cut, which is what you want to do. You don't want to go from bulk to cut to bulk to cut to bulk to cut and never have like a deload period or a maintenance period or both together, which is what I did. I did both together. And I'll explain what both of those are. So deload is either take a whole week off of training, right? Which is recommended to kind of get your fucking body back to 100%. Because if you're training all year round, I mean, you're taking your splits or whatever. But if you're training all year round, your body will never get back to 100%. If you're training hard, if you're doing the work that you know you need to do, your body's never going to get back to 100. You can get close. You can get to 80. But you want to deload and take a whole week off and just let your body recharge and get back to 100. Now, you don't have to take the whole week off. I didn't. I know a lot of people don't. I don't like the idea of taking the whole week off. I just want to kind of keep going. So what's another option? Another option is to go that week, your deload week, and say you normally are curling, 40 pounds, right? You're doing your 40-pound curls on your normal weeks when you're just training. Go down to 20. Go down to 25. Your bench, say you're benching, 175 or 200. That's your normal bench. 200. You've been going up, every 2 weeks to 5 pounds, let's say, and you got through your bulk at, let's say, 250, right? Now you're on your deload week while you're doing your maintenance. Go down to 225, right? Get through another week. Now you're back to training normal, but maybe you want to go down to 215. Get your body to get back to close to as 100% as you can. Not to mention you're about to go into maintenance for a little while. So go into maintenance. Now maintenance is however many calories it takes to remain whatever weight you are. Okay, so if you come out of a bulk and say you were gaining a pound to 2 pounds a week in your bulk, now you don't want to do that anymore. You want to find out what your calorie count is. Say you came out of the bulk at 200 pounds. You got to figure out what your calorie mark is to remain at 200 pounds, give or take a fucking pound. 1 week you might be 201, the next week you might be 200, the next week you might be 199, the next week after that you might be back to 200. You have to play with your numbers and figure out where you're at. But go into maintenance you should do maintenance for like 4 weeks. I did it for like 3 weeks. You should do it for 4 weeks. So while you're doing that, you're training your normal, after your deload, you're training your normal routine, your normal weight, your normal everything. You're getting ready to go into your cut. So when you go into your cut, what's going to happen? One, you're going to be fucking starving at first. You're going to figure out your calorie mark to lose your desired amount, which shouldn't be more than a pound a week. Even a pound a week, I think, is too much for a cut. Half a pound is kind of where you want to be, because this is going to be a long fucking journey on your cut, right? You're going from March 1 to technically September 1 is what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to go all of September, those 4 weeks, maintenance, and then start the fun part, which is bulking again for the second time. So what you want to do is find your calorie mark to get you down to that half pound. That can take a week, that could take 2 weeks, that could take 3 fucking weeks. I'm on week 2 of trying to figure out what my mark is. Clearly, my first mark was way too much, which was okay with me because that just meant I get to eat more fucking food. So now you find your mark. What's going to happen is you are going to 100% lose strength, right? You're not eating the same, right? You're not even eating close to the same. Your calories are way down especially from your bulk, and they're down from your maintenance. You're going to feel like you have less energy. You're going to feel kind of sluggish for a little while. You're absolutely going to feel it in your lifts. But do not lift lighter. Do not lift lighter. If you're starting at 200 on your bench at the beginning of your bulk, and you finished at 250 at the end of that, gradually moving up as you should. Don't say, okay, now I'm going to cut. Let me go down to 175. Only on your deload would you do something like that. If you're in your cut, lift the same. Train the same. That's really important. A lot of guys tend to go into their cuts and really lighten the load. You shouldn't do that. If anything, you're going to add. You're going to add on. So like in my bulk, I wasn't doing like a dedicated cardio, meaning like I wasn't getting on the bike. I wasn't doing any of that because I walk so much. I walk the dog. We do 5-6 miles a day. That was plenty of cardio for me. It took trial and error to figure that out. When I first started the bulk, I was walking those 5-6 miles a day with him, and then I would do 5 miles on the bike, and then still my normal lifting training. That was way too fucking much. Way too much. Because here I'm eating every 2 hours, like you need to in your bulk, cleanly, to get up to the calorie mark that I was trying to hit. And I wasn't gaining anything because I was doing technically 11 miles a fucking day worth of cardio, which was way too much. And I didn't even know that at first. I reached out, obviously, to Vin, and I'm like, dude, I'm fucking eating nonstop. Like, I can't gain any weight. And he's like, walk me through your training. And I did. And he was like, you're doing way more cardio than you fucking should be doing. So I cut the bike out. I stopped doing the 5 miles, and he was right. And then I started gaining. But, again, trial and error. This whole thing is trial and error. But that's okay, because you have nothing but time. You have nothing but time. And that goes with fucking anything. Anything you want to do, go fucking do it. Because you have nothing but time. You know what sucks is when you don't have that time anymore. And now it's too late. Do you want to be the guy that doesn't have the time anymore and it's too late and one foot's in the grave? Or do you want to be that guy to be like, I fucking tried and hit almost everything that I tried, but at least I tried. Trial and error is a part of this, and it's a part of everything. Consistency matters just as much in your cut as it does in your bulk, as it does in your maintenance, as it does in your deload, as it does in every part of this. Your cut is only going to work if you're consistent as fuck. If you're consistent on your calories, you have to be almost even more consistent on your calories in your cut than you do in your bulk. Because at least in your bulk, you can go and get that cheeseburger to hit your calorie mark and get away with it, because you're already getting fluffy, right? You can get away with that. But in your cut, you fuck up and you go and get like those cheeseburgers, especially when you're already flirting with your number. Say your number's 2,200 calories and you're already flirting with that, and you gave in and you got those 2 cheeseburgers that just put you at 3,000 calories. You're already in a very specific program to kind of get your body to the point of what you envisioned, right? And it's not all about like losing the weight in the cut. So most people will say like, oh, I'm 205 or whatever, and I want to get down to 175 for my cut. And you think like, oh, that's 30 pounds. That's a lot of weight. It is, but at the same time, when you take that 30 pounds and you spread that over like 6 months, that's not that bad. That's not bad at all. And the reality of it is like, you're not ultimately focused on the weight. You're focused on body percentage, right? That's what you're really, really focused on. You're not trying to lose a bunch of weight in your cut. You're just trying to get your body percentage down. So I'm probably at 18, maybe 17, maybe. And my end goal, hopefully, is like 12, 12-ish, 13, somewhere around there. Now, I'm not going to look like some of these fucking guys who you see every fucking muscle in their body, every fucking little cut, everything. I'm not going to look like that, because to look like that, you literally have to be flirting with like 5, 6, 7% body fat, which is extremely fucking hard to do. If you can't even stick to like your normal diet and your normal routine and you keep falling off of that, don't even look at the 6% mark or anything like that as being obtainable for you. I look at those guys and I know what they have to do to get to that, and I wouldn't even want to have to go through that to look like that. And to maintain that is even harder and somewhat unhealthy. If you're down to 5% body fat, there's nothing healthy about that. But most of these guys, I'd say 95% of these guys don't remain there. They don't stay there, because it's almost impossible to stay there. It's like when I was in high school, I had friends who wrestled, and these guys would fucking murder themselves to stay 150 pounds for their meet. They're having a deep breath at lunch because they can't even afford to go up 0.5 of a fucking pound, because they know they have to throw a garbage bag on and go run around the gym because they're still 1.5 pounds over. And these guys would be depleted and dehydrated and just weak, really. They would go to their meet. As soon as that meet was over, they would fucking crush food, because they might walk around at 180 but have to suck weight to 150 to wrestle. Same with boxing. You see these boxers, their walk around weight might be 180, 190, but they slim all the way down to 145 to compete. And it's fucking brutal on your body to do it the way they do it. These guys are doing it in like 2 fucking months, 3 months. Some of these guys are going on 6-week programs to train. A lot of boxers will only train for a 6-week program. Imagine walking around at 180 and 6 weeks later, you're 145. It's not healthy. I had a buddy ask me, is it healthy to bulk and then cut and then bulk and then cut? And it is, if you do it the proper way, if you do it slowly. When you're bulking, you want to go up a few pounds a week if you can. And then when you're cutting, you want to go down a few bit. They're long programs, right? You bulk for fucking 18 weeks, 20 weeks, and then you cut for 16 weeks or 18 weeks or whatever. So it's really, 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 really slow. You're not just going up drastically and then dropping drastically. That will fuck you up. But on top of it, you're trying your best to eat as clean as possible, especially in your cut. In your bulk, we talked about it, you can get away with French fries and cheeseburgers a lot of the time if you're putting the fucking work in the gym. You can get little wins every fucking week. Every week. Every Friday, if you want that to be your day of, I'm going to put cheese and I'm going to have a bun and bacon and everything on my burger today. And I'm going to have a big bag of chips with it and a Coke. Fucking A, do that. Do that. Because those little wins every week, that's what's going to keep you going. Especially if you're already at the point of you feel good and you look good to yourself. Because it don't fucking matter if I think you're in shape and look good. It matters if you feel good, mainly. And don't surround yourself with people who are fucking negative. Like we talked about this before. You have certain people who just assume that you woke up like that. You know what I mean? Like you were gifted this, but they missed out on it. No. Every fucking person. Now, yeah, is there genetically gifted people? There is. But the genetically gifted people don't all look like Brock Lesnar. They just don't. I've had people say to me, like, man, I wish I was skinny like you. And it's like, yeah, but I don't eat a fucking horse every fucking day and live that way. Or else I wouldn't be skinny, quote unquote skinny, or whatever the fuck. I would be really out of shape like I was, and unhealthy like I was. I wasn't gifted shit. I bust my fucking ass every fucking day. Train fucking hard. I eat fucking right. I have the will to do what I need to fucking do to get to where I want to get. So those people who are like that, you need to fucking get rid of them. You need to get rid of those people. And they're like that in all walks. They really are. It can be an instrument. You know, you got really good on an instrument and people will be like, I wish I had the time like you have to do that. And it's like, dude, you do. It's just you choose to do whatever else instead, right? I knew that when I started playing guitar, okay, I could play video games for 3 hours when I have my 3 hours to myself, when all my duties are done and work is done and my family shit's done and all that's done. I can go and play video games for 3 hours, or I can go play the guitar for 3 hours. I chose to play the guitar for 3 hours. So when people say to me, I wish I can play like that, and I say, well, you know, I would play 15, 20 hours a week or whatever, and they were like, oh, I can't find time like that. Yeah, you can. You would rather do something else. That's all that comes down to, is you would rather do something else. When it comes down to working out, and there's people who say they can't find the time, they know they're full of shit. They know that there is 40 minutes in their day somewhere that they could work out. They just don't have the will to just keep getting their ass up to go and do it. And some will come to the realization that they do have that time, and they'll admit that. And they'll admit that it was just an excuse. Like we did the video on the excuses, and myself included, right? I was trying to come up with a list of excuses on not just working out, on fucking everything in my life. I would come up with an excuse. You have to push that shit aside. You do. You have to stop being the guy that's like, when am I going to get my break? Because it's just not how anything works. It's 100% not how fitness works. And it's not how anything in life works. 90% of what you get is what you do. That's just how it works. And 90% of what you don't get is what you do. That's how it works. That other 10%, that getting a break and that luck, that's what that is. You don't always get it. You can't fucking rely on it. You get out of what you put in. And that goes with everything. That goes with everything. So yeah, that's where I'm at the moment. Almost at the end of week 2 of my cut. Trial and error period. Trying to figure out what my calories need to be. Praying to God that when I get on the scale on Friday, I'm not down 3 pounds. That'll suck. Shit that we have coming up. You see Vinny's posting about the strongman competition. He's going to keep everybody updated on that, including me. And he's going to post a bunch of shit, a bunch of videos about that, going through that. I'm pretty sure he said he was going to actually post like the video of the competition, if he's allowed to. So that's going to be awesome. In the meantime, keep fucking working out. Keep training hard. Keep eating right. If you feel like you're a fat ass and you're sitting on the couch, get the fuck up. Get the fuck up. Don't keep being that guy saying, you know what, next week. You know what, next week. You know what, next week. And then next week you're dead. That's what it comes down to.